Hey, gorgeous. It's me, Aminata here, and I'm excited to introduce this conversation that I had with Barb Horn. Barb Horn is a student of astrology. She is a community science program creator and a protector of water. In this conversation, we are talking about what does it mean to be from space and out of space on planet Earth. She just gives me a whole new perspective of looking at myself as being a earth-based person who is simultaneously also of the cosmos. It was a real moment for me when I realized I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't really thought of myself that way. And I love expanding our perception of who we are because I think we get locked into these very narrow views of ourselves in these very short timelines. So, Barb, being the multidimensional Gemini that she is, just going to blow your mind, talking about the crises that Saturn brings to our lives. So, you can learn how to work with those crises toward your own liberation and evolution. All right, without further ado, let's go and talk with Barb Horn about astrology and you. All right, Barb Horn, welcome to the Mother Tree community, the Mother Tree Network.
Hello,
How are
hello.
you?
Thank you, thank you. Good to be here.
It is so good to see you. So, Barb, I know that you are an amazing voice coach and that you are an alchemical hypnotist and a soul collage facilitator and a scientist, someone who's worked for Colorado Department of Water and Wildlife for 3 decades. So you are a woman who's like branching the sciences and the arts. But do people know that you are also a student of the skies and astrology? That's what we're going to talk about today. First of all, if you could just tell us briefly, like, what made you even want to think about astrology, especially because you're a scientist, and usually scientists are a little bit skeptical of something like astrology.
Yeah, and one of the things I learned as a scientist was that we think we know 110% of what we're learning when we actually maybe know about a tenth of the percent. So there's a lot of different levels of science, and there's science that's more abstract, quantum physics, for example. And I always was fascinated, of course, with the sky and the stars. It's hard not to be when you go out there and look at all the lights. And I have a great sky view myself at night here.
Is that because I was going to say, is that because you live in New Mexico? So maybe you get a sky.
I do live in the southwest corner of Colorado, close to New Mexico, and we do have dark skies. Growing up, I also was just I'm fascinated with energy and human behavior and the connection to why we do what we do, like the psychology and the psyche. And of course, if you start to be curious about why we're here, why we do what we do, you inevitably come across these energies in the sky and how they work and learn us and are there for us. And so it's in my own personal life birth chart to be a student of the skies, but everything in my chart says be a teacher, be a student of astrology, be a healer, but you're not going to do it in any traditional way. So it was on my path of self-discovery and self-learning and self-love and trying to understand relationships and my own growth, my own dark nights, if you will, that I became a student of wanting to use astrology to learn more about who I am and why I'm here and why you're here and why we're all together and what we're here to do.
And it's so, as you're speaking, Barb, the sun just broke through the clouds where I'm staying. It's just a beautiful reminder. You know what? We are on a planet and we are in space. And it's just such a weird thing because we don't think of ourselves that way, but we are in space. I wonder, speaking of planets, can you just give us a very basic understanding of how planets relate to astrology?
Yeah. So here's a real simple way for the Mother Tree Network to connect. It's easy and tangible for us to realize that we're the same, our bodies are the same material as the soil and the plants and the animals. that are around us, but we're also made of the same material as planets and stars and the cosmos. So we really are
Wow.
connected vertically and horizontally to everybody and everything. It's just so intangible. And we've spent a long time being disconnected from our relationship and the energy that is between us and the sky. Yep.
So when you say vertically connected, you mean we're connected with the stars above us.
Yeah. So think of
Is that what you
you,
meant when you say we're vertically?
you are the life force between heaven and earth. And if you stand there and
Okay.
think about your roots going down into earth and your energy and your energy system moving up and out beyond your head and in the heavens, that's your connection, like a tree branching up and out, and your leaves are now in the cosmos and can reach up into, depending on what your beliefs are, there's no right or wrong here, way up into the heavens where your guides are, your angels are, where your loved ones have transitioned, where you came from, and arranged for your soul contract or your life agreement or the reason you're here, whatever your language is for that, comes
Mhm.
down into this body, this density, and then you live horizontally in relationship with plants and animals and others. And so we are this vertical and horizontal energetic being, which I like to think the nexus of all of that is everything is moving through our hearts. Does that help?
Yes, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That just really helped me understand. It gave me the picture.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about your approach to astrology. Just
Well,
say a little bit more about that. So, given that you understand who we are as vertical and horizontal, how does astrology help us?
so there's cycles, metacycles, and cycles of the planets. All the planets, Pluto, Mars, Jupiter, are cycling in their own orbits, and we like to think they're circular and oval, but they're really not. But they're doing their own thing, evolutionary. Earth is doing its own thing. It takes a year to go around the sun, and as it goes around the sun, it goes through all the zodiac signs. So it's moving around Leo, Aries, once we have a birthday once a year as that cycle goes around. Mercury goes around the sun 3 times a year, every 88 days. And if you go out to the far end of the cosmos, Pluto takes 248 years, human years, to make that cycle through all the zodiac signs. And so as all these planets are moving, they have these very specific, we call them archetypal patterns, but very simple energies that are sent out into the grid, if you will, of co-creation that we're part of.
So, there are these cycles, and then you were saying these planets each have energies that are co creating with us
Correct.
here on Earth.
Through the zodiac signs. And so that's going on out there.
Ah,
And think about now, when you were born, there was this specific snapshot of the sky. And that's your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, for those of you that know that stuff. But you actually have this developmental cycle you go through of these 12 different houses of your identity, your self-worth, your partners, your career, this developmental cycle that you go through your entire life. And there's a zodiac sign that's ruling each one of those houses for you. So you are not just your sun sign or just your moon sign or rising sign, you're all of the zodiac signs. So here you are mirroring the cosmos, and you're a unique individual. No one will have the same planetary alignment when you were born, Aminata, for another 4,800,000 years.
Hey everyone, it's Aminata, Desert Rose Plant Walker Firewoman, and I am here to invite you to our Vision Board Soul Party process. We are getting together on a few days before the new moon in April to create our vision. What is it we want to bring forth? What is it that we want to feel, be doing, be having in 2024? So if you'd like to be a part of this process, please go to my website, dramandakemp.com/vision board. See you there.
And that's why when you hear
and I just want our listeners,
yeah,
I just want our listeners to just keep remembering that we are working vertically and horizontally.
Yeah.
Just let's keep that image in mind because I think that's really critical. So we're saying we're getting all this energy, information, patterns that we're co-creating with.
And I'm going to give you a real specific example. This sort of sets the stage because we're going to work through how Saturn does its work. So here you are sitting here with your own unique soul contract agreement, life purpose, your own way of expressing through Leo and through Pisces, through your sun sign, navigating your world, this horizontal. Saturn's out there doing his orbit and his thing, and he just moved from Aquarius into Pisces. What does that mean? There's the astronomy of it, which is what I just said. But then what does that mean energetically? So to understand what those are, we have to understand the archetype or the patterns of Pisces, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And it's amazing to be born if you think about these cycles. So if it takes Pluto 248 years to move signs, what are the odds that you and I would be alive for 50, 80 years in that time frame? And we are.
Okay, so here we are in 2023.
Yep.
And you're saying we're in this moment where Pluto, which has this 240 plus year cycle, is moving. And what are the chances of that? So that's pretty exciting. That's a new thing. But you also said you wanted to get more, maybe more specific about on a personal level. I bet you a lot of people have heard about Saturn, maybe with some trepidation.
So Saturn is male in the astrology, and we often call him, he's like the taskmaster. He's the father energy. So these, what I mean by archetypal energies, when I say these words, they're universal. Saturn just simply wants us to mature, wants us to grow up and mature, that tough love. And that's what it presents us in our lessons, if you will, to grow up in every way, physically, spiritually, emotionally, mystically, cosmically. It's like a soul's growth. It is like going from kindergarten to first grade. Like you can't skip. You can't go to college and have not gone to kindergarten. You can't skip your lessons. So Saturn wants us to mature, to grow up. And he gets a bad rap because it's the hard work of growing up. Think about the kid who wants to play and doesn't want to do his chores or her chores, or the person who wants to be the Olympic athlete but doesn't really want to put in the time and the practice, right? That's Saturn right there. He wants us to do.
Saturn is like time and practice.
Here's Saturn words. When you hear someone talking about hard work, discipline, commitment, patience, obligations, responsibility, accountability, those are all in the realm of Saturn in our vertical relationship with the cosmos. And he rules time because he knows our life here and our incarnation is short, relatively speaking. And he wants us to do what we came here to do as souls. He wants us to mature.
To stay on track.
Stay on track. He's not a trickster. He's not a punisher. We all have periods of time in our, we just don't want to do the work. We're lazy. So we will be triggered in our life when we're off track. How does that show up? When we're being lazy, we're ignoring the signs that are saying, move in this direction, get out of that relationship. When we're distracted, we're scattered, we're asleep, we're avoiding, we're ignoring. Saturn's going to knock on our door, and particularly when then it's transiting.
Like a personal trainer. Like I love that, because a personal trainer is somebody who you work with to help you reach your goal. And what they do is they stay with you while you do your repetitions. Did you do 3 sets? So you got to do 3 sets, not 2.
That's right. You can't shortcut.
It's methodical. It's okay. No shortcuts. No shortcuts. I get it. And
so Saturn will also, because it's wanting us to, our soul came here to do something it's never done before in any other lives or incarnations and whatever your beliefs are. So we work hard in our human wiring to stay comfortable and stay the same. We've arrived. And I'm going to explain to you how Saturn matures us here, which will help you. So Saturn's always bringing up in us energetically this tension between the old and the new. You got comfortable, you learned this. Okay, so you learned that rep. Now let's challenge your body in a new way using the personal trainer. Let's challenge it to reach another peak in a direction that's going to require more work, can require change. And we inherently are wired to not want to change. We're wired to want to stay the same. So there's always this tension. Another reason Saturn gets a bad rep between the old and the new. But let's just see how Saturn works
Okay.
in your own life. How does it mature you? So if it takes 28 years to go around through all the signs, that means in our 0 years to 28 years old, it takes 28 years for Saturn to go from where it started in your own birth chart back to that same start point. And that's when you're about 28, 29 years old. And what happens if you were to map out, those of you on this call here, if you were to map out, just pick out key watershed moments in your life that were transformative, that changed you in some way, positive, negative, both, the whole thing, they're going to correspond to these time frames. Not all of them, but many of them. So you can think about where you were when you were 28, 29 years old, and you're getting triggered to, you were supposed to mature. You were supposed to be an adult by 28. What does that mean? Financially, spiritually, maturity. And so you're going to have triggers, if you will, or Saturn's going to show you where you still need to man up, if you will. You still need to do that discipline. What have you forgotten? And it could be in your
next
financial life.
level up.
It could be in your financial life, your relationship life, your emotional life, how you treat yourself. It's all these different vectors depending on your own chart, but you're going to get those sort of crises.
When I was born, Saturn was in Pisces.
Yeah.
So when I was born. So now here we are. Saturn is back in Pisces for only the second time in my lifetime.
You're having your second.
Because it takes 28 years to go around. So now I'm having my second Saturn return.
And I'll explain, and that's where I was going next, right?
And there's plenty of us out here. There's plenty of us out here. It's not like a unique birthday that has me have Saturn and Pisces.
Nope.
There's a whole tribe of us, right? Who were born in the 60s. I was born in 66 in a particular period. I don't know. So I think you should check your chart because maybe this is your Saturn return too, if you're a beautiful queenly woman in her late 50s. Okay. Moving on.
And for you, it's Pisces. But for everybody, you can have a Saturn return that's not in Pisces. It's just, you're going to be double whammied because Saturn is in Pisces.
Exactly.
Right?
Because that's what I mean. Everybody's getting Saturn and Pisces, but those of us who were born with Saturn and Pisces, it's even more significant.
Correct.
Okay. Tell us what we have to look forward to.
That's right. So again, you can think about when you were 28, 29, often that is when you move out of the house, you might get married, you have your first kid. So there's all these things happening at that phase in your life. Then another 28 years go by and you're now 58, 56, 60, you're going to have a second Saturn return. Those are the mediums you're working through. But then you kind of look, this is where people have the midlife crisis. And the big question at the Saturn return is, am I really self-actualizing? Am I really moving towards my destiny, what I came here? Is my life really full? Am I really doing what I'm here to do? Or did I just spend a whole career doing something and now I retired and I'm feeling empty? I don't know who I am. You can think of all the questions that we ask at this phase in our life when often our children leave, we retire, we might get laid off. So the big...
I got you.
Yeah. Land it.
It's big questions.
Yep.
But when Saturn's in Pisces, is a particular flavor to the questions?
There is, but this is in general. What I'm saying now is just how patterns working you, period.
It's general.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk about what it means in there and you'll get that flavor and people can apply that to their own life. If you're so fortunate to live another 28 years into your late 80s, you would have a third Saturn review or return where now you're the wise elder and you're maybe not wise, but you're an elder and you do this sort of reflection over your life. What regrets do I have? What's my legacy? What amends do I need to make? It's this conscious eldering, if you are connected vertically, to living and gracefully channeling grace to gracefully age and be that wise elder. And again, things are going to be happening in life that will trigger these kind of questions for you. So that's how Saturn matures you. Okay. So now let's talk about Saturn in Aquarius and Saturn in Pisces. And you can see this grid of co-creation that we're always in. Saturn moved from Aquarius on March 7th, and it will be here, I didn't write down the date, till 2026. So again, because this energy is sequential, it's good to look about where Saturn was, because in every single cycle, however big or meta or smaller, we grow. What we learn or don't informs the potentiality of the next cycle. So let me give you this example. Okay. So when we're looking at
Sounds
the
good.
planet, and so Saturn's this taskmaster, this father, and it's working through Aquarius. What's Aquarius about? In a very short nutshell, Aquarius energy is about living our one world connectedness, living as one, acknowledging and living that we're all connected, we all matter, everything that's here that gets to be here, even if we don't understand it, and we're not separated and divided as we think we are. And so when Saturn was in Aquarius, which was from, think about this, December 17th, 2020 to March 7th, 2023. I don't need to say a whole lot what happened basically the last 3 years. So here's Saturn is moving through this. Hey, Aquarius says, you're one conscious, you're all connected. Wait a minute, you're not living that way. Let me show you how you're not living that way. Let me, through your own work here, let's have a pandemic that doesn't care about what country you're in, what age you are, what race you are, what gender you are. Let's just give you something that shows you're all connected and ask you to look at it now in a different way than you have for the last 2,000 years, basically. Now, we didn't succeed. We did grow, we did awaken, but we didn't come to this one world consciousness. And that's that larger metacycle in the era of moving to the age of Pisces, that everything cycle, every Mercury retrograde, everything is serving that larger movement towards Aquarian qualities being the dominant forces, if you will, or energies that are recreating all of our values, beliefs, structures, and systems, which is what makes the future very exciting.
Okay, so we're going to move into Saturn, into Pisces now.
Okay, again, a lot of archetypes. So the symbol for Pisces is 2 fish. So like Saturn, who faces the personal Earth planets and also faces the transpersonal, and so is working us both individually and socially, Pisces also has these sort of 2 fishes. And we've spent 2,000 years in the era of Pisces cultivating the shadow and the light of the one fish. So I want to just name some of those sort of axes that Pisces works. So Pisces is a water sign. So emotions, spirit, it's the mystical form, the mist form of water, compared to, say, Scorpio, which is like the back stagnant, still waters in terms of its symbolization for water. So Pisces is like the particle and the wave. It's the visible and the invisible. It's the horizontal and the vertical. It's the intentional self-effort and surrendering to something greater. It's power and powerlessness. It's personal consciousness and our multidimensionality into galactical consciousness. And it integrates our human heart and this higher vertical heart, or what I call our cosmic heart. But we have not developed that other fish. It's kind of like we haven't got there yet. We are really on the particle, the visible, the horizontal, the self, I, the human heart. We're here. And again, so when Saturn goes into Pisces as a taskmaster and disciplinary, it's going to ask us to do the work to cultivate that higher vibration, that higher heart, that connection vertical to the physical. Isn't this cool? I just get so excited. It's going to ask us to find
our personal trainer,
our inner power, and how it's not connected. Now, we've been in the age of Pisces, we abandoned our body. We abandoned our hearts. We abandoned our emotions. We said the head, the mind is it. So this isn't about getting rid of the mind. It's about integrating these other systems that we have. I short circuit it by saying we're being cultivated to have a thinking heart and a feeling mind.
So Barb, this is so awesome. And I'm wondering, to bring it down to a more individual level, how would this be showing up in my individual life? Saturn and Pisces, what it's asking me to learn.
Pisces, let's just one more blip on Pisces then. Pisces is going to be, through Saturn, then asking you about your spirituality, your connection to divinity, your ability to discern reality. So in its shadow, because it's ruled by Neptune, this is where lies, misinformation, conspiracy theories, like the tyranny and the fear show up. So you can ask yourself, where is that showing up in me? And how am I discerning? We don't get to make up our reality. We don't get to cherry pick that I want to be in this political party, and I also want to have the grid of success and money coming my way, but I don't want to deal with the grid of war over there. We don't get to do that. It's all here. So you can ask yourself, your intuition is coming online. So for some people, these upgrades are happening physically in their bodies, emotionally, their brains are foggy. Be patient with yourself as you're literally upgrading to this sort of vertical abilities. So your intuition will be coming online. That's another way it might show up in your life. In your dreams, you might be hearing more. Like you, Aminata, you're amping up and helping many people talk to trees, for example. This connection, it's what's in us that's being activated in a light way and a shadow way. So you want to really pay attention to how you're bringing this vertical new knowledge, not to stay up there in la land, but to bring it to the horizontal plane to help us all evolve. So the nutshell you
so Saturn and
go ahead.
yes.
Go ahead.
No, so Saturn and Pisces is about, in a nutshell, activating that intuition. Go ahead.
And your cosmic ability to feel and sense other people, and to bring that level of eagle's perch to now the problems, if you will, of the horizontal plane. In a nutshell, if Saturn is our taskmaster and Pisces is this sort of vertical two-fish, all these different paradoxes of feeling alone but not alone kind of thing, Saturn is asking us to mature, remember, to become mystical, mature adults. So Aquarius asked us to recognize we're all connected physically on the tangible Taurus Earth. Saturn and Pisces is asking us to be connected through our hearts, through our energy, through the internet, through our feelings, through this intuitive mind. It's really an amazing period that we're in, bringing all these things online. And you're co-creating your life and our evolution with that.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Barb, for just kicking off our interest, for adding a little more fuel to the fire. And if you want to follow Barb, if you want to know more about her, you can also reach out to her directly at scienceofbarb@gmail.com. All right. Until the next time, peace and love and peace.
Namaste. Thank you, everybody.
That is a wrap. It has been so good to be with you today, gorgeous. If you hear anything on this podcast that you think would help a friend or a family member, please pass it on and leave us a review. Leave us some stars. It helps us to know what is impacting people. I'm Aminata Desert Rose Plant Walker Firewoman, and you are gorgeous. See you next time.